Hello friends of Powerhouse Bakery and all of my favorite divas and dudes out there. I'm so excited to have you in my kitchen today, and I have a very special guest with me today. This is Jessica Barragon, and she is a dietetic student, and I like nothing more than to have students with me so that we can showcase healthy together. She's got some great ideas. In fact, she came up with this recipe that we're doing today. We are showcasing the Mediterranean, beautiful style of healthy vegetables and using beans as a base for protein as well as the healthy fat, and a great way to build a breakfast taco. So we are going to get started. Jessica, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Why don't you grab the goodies? I want to first show you what our ingredients are for this first one. It's a little twist on a traditional hummus, and so let me show you the ingredients. What we've got here is first these fantastic little taco shells, which I bought from Sprouts. And let me show you. This is the one that we're using for this particular breakfast taco. And you might not know, if some of you are new to Powerhouse Bakery, we are dedicated gluten-free. So we are not only dedicated to super healthy, but everything we do is free of gluten. But I always say you don't have to have celiac to love what we do. So this beautiful breakfast taco is loaded with flavor, and I love these little crispy tacos. So we've got this taco that we're going to start with, and we're going to add in some of this. What is this one? Do you remember?
That is our sunflower oil, or sunflower butter.
This is a great product. So traditional hummus is made with sesame tahini, which we're going to use in our other hummus, but this is traditional. This is a little take on traditional, something kind of new and interesting. What else we got?
So we have some bell peppers, we have some parsley, we have a little bit of lime to top it off, and we have our taco shells right here, and some ground cumin and some chili powder.
So really a traditional flavor in a hummus is always going to have some kind of peppers. I'm going to go off the grid on the other one, so you'll see that in a second. But for this one, really traditional flavors along with a non-traditional butter, which is that sunflower butter. So ground cumin and the Mexican chili is great, plus some sauteed peppers and garlic. And I want to show you what I did. This is kind of an interesting topper. I just love this because it's called a dry saute. And so all I did was heat up my skillet, and I put a fair amount of just my chopped peppers and some garlic. I did not put any oil in. And that just gives it not only a really nice smoky flavor, but it also gives some wonderful color. So we're going to add that to our plate up. So I'm going to get started because I want to show you how to do that very special dry saute. So I've been having my skillet heat, and I put it on pretty high. So this little burner goes from 0 to 10. I have it on 8.5. And I'm going to just drop them in and let them kind of sizzle. It takes a little while. That's why I wanted to start it in the beginning of the video, so you can kind of watch how these progress. And at the very end, I'll put a little bit of lemon lime on there. So, are you ready to build a breakfast taco?
I am so ready.
So we've got this beautiful hummus that we did, and I'm going to show you how we built it. But first we want to start with the one that's already made so we can show you how it's going to be completed. And this is what our finished product is going to look like. Can you kind of describe what we did in there?
Yeah, so right now we have our already made taco. What it has is the hummus on the bottom, and that's our protein source. And then we have some spinach, some tomatoes, we have those dry sauteed peppers, and then we have a little bit of lime just to give it that extra flavor.
Extra kick, really traditional for the hummus flavors. So let's get to building.
Okay.
Now, we've got this beautiful creamy stuff, and we're going to try to fit it into this taco. Now, we can use a spatula, but you know what just dawned on me?
We're in a bakery.
And what do we have in a bakery?
We have
Oh my goodness, great idea, Jessica. So let's put, we're gonna first fill it, and then we're gonna cut it and squeeze it in and make it a perfect fill. Now, if you don't have a pastry bag at home, don't worry, a spatula will work just fine. But we couldn't resist. We thought it would be so much fun to fill our pastry bag and have you give it a, we can show you how easy it is to squeeze it right into place. But you can also make one of these. Go ahead and start scooping in. You can make one of these with a piece of parchment paper. I'll just wipe it off your spoon. Okay. And you fold it into a cone, And, you know, before I even had these pastry bags, we were using the parchment paper and just folding it into a cone, and it worked great. So, fancy here at Powerhouse Bakery, but of course at home, you can use a spoon. But we just thought it would be fun. So
Make it fun.
Exactly. So now do the honors and cut off the tip. So right about there.
We go.
Perfect. Now you can have the honors to squeeze it into our beautiful taco. So again, the beans are so valuable because it is high in protein, it's high in complex carbohydrate, not to mention fiber. And the fava bean, as well as this particular butter bean, are going to be great showcase items for the Mediterranean diet. So that's perfect.
That looks good, doesn't it?
Perfect. And that's about, I'm going to say, maybe a quarter of a cup. It's not too strict on the amount, but again, we want it to be hearty enough to really count as a breakfast. So we want to make sure there's enough of that bean mixture. And again, our hummus is made with the sunflower butter, any kind of bean. And for this particular one, we used a cannelli bean or a broad bean. It's also called a butter bean. And now we're loading it up with veggies. So we've got sliced tomato, we're putting some spinach in there, and I love putting the extra bit of fresh right on the top. So that's where the parsley is coming in. Of course, you could use cilantro if you prefer that and really go with the Mexican flavors, but sky's the limit as far as options. So Jessica, are you ready for a couple slices of tomato?
I am, I'm ready.
All right, let's put them in there. So we always know that the eyes eat first, so I'm doing a nice stack. We've got the beautiful spinach leaves that are fresh and gorgeous, and I'm just sliding the tomato onto the side. And then we've got our beautiful topper, which are those little crispy peppers. And you know, you could even put a little bit of vegan sour cream if you wanted to, but this is so delicious.
It smells so good.
Right? And so remind me again, what flavors did we use for our hummus?
So in our hummus, we use the Mexican chili powder, and we use the ground cumin, and we also added about half a teaspoon of paprika.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So we didn't even have that on our plate. I'm so glad you reminded me. And salt. We did use a canned bean, but you just know you got to add some salt. Start small. How much did you start with?
I started off with a half a teaspoon.
And then you felt like it needed more? Or?
Maybe just a little bit more. I wouldn't say a whole lot more, just about 1 teaspoon really.
So for a cup and a half of the mashed beans, and then 2 ounces of the sun butter, and I'll be giving you the recipe, but just note, taste before you add too much salt in, because sometimes beans are pre-salted if you're getting them in the can, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, so that is our #1 hummus. Breakfast taco with all kinds of protein, complex carbohydrates, not to mention fiber and great flavor, and no animals were injured in this experiment. Okay, next one. So I'm still cooking these along. So notice that we're getting some beautiful brown color, and that's really what we want. It's kind of like grilling them, but you're just using a dry skillet. So it's a really nice approach. And I'm going to start to turn the heat down a little bit, but I love the color that we're getting on that. And again, no fat added at all. You could add a little salt if you wanted, but do it at the end. Okay, so now let's do our next hummus. This one is going to, can you grab the plate? See if you can reach it. We are going to make one now with sweet potato, and we're going to venture a little bit with the flavors. So traditional would be cumin and maybe some lemon or lime. This one is so cool because we're using allspice and we're using tarragon. Tiny bit of garlic as well in the saute of the veggies for that topping. So now with our spoon, let's go ahead and start scooping out the sweet potato.
Okay.
So just scoop out as much as you can and go ahead and put it into our bowl. Now this great little KitchenAid I love. It's so handy, it's small, it's compact, so it's easy to leave on your counter. Use a food processor a lot. It just makes it worth it. Don't have one that you leave in the shelf or on the counter that you only get out on once or twice a year. It's something that we want to use a lot. And when I bake these sweet potatoes, cut them in half, bake them face down, and they get so soft and caramelized. It's a great process. Super easy. You just don't have to even worry about it. 30 minutes till they're soft to the touch. Another way, do one more. Another way you can do it, of course, is in the microwave. Wrap them in some plastic wrap for 2 minutes for a medium-sized sweet potato. That will be just about enough time. Again, you want it really soft. Look how easy it is for Jessica to scoop it out. In this particular recipe, we're not going to use the skin, much to my disappointment, but it's a great way to get the complex carbs, beta carotene, all kinds of great nutrients from that sweet potato. So we've gotten about a cup. It was a total of one big sweet potato. So it's about a cup and a half. And that's a really good amount. You don't want to do too much because then it's hard to work with as far as adding your spices. So now she's going to process just a bit. And again, this little food processor is sometimes a trick to get it to snap down, but it works really well.
It's handy.
So I'm going to start to add in my flavors, and I'm going to pre-measure so it'll be real easy to get all of these items in.
Just going to blend this.
Is it being difficult? Yeah. Let's see, turn it to the side. There we go.
There we go.
I think the bottom part wasn't working. There we got it. Okay.
Got it.
So I'm going to pre-measure our spices so we can put them in all at once. So a little bit of allspice, half a teaspoon. And here is our nut butter. Now this one I mentioned, I am using the sesame tahini. You could absolutely use the sunflower butter on this one too, and it's delicious. I've certainly done both. That looks gorgeous. All right, so let's pour that in. So I've got allspice, and I have also a half a teaspoon of tarragon that's going to be going into my spice blend. And we always have to have a little bit of salt. So whether you're doing beans out of a can or you're doing freshly baked sweet potato, start off with at least a quarter teaspoon. Go ahead and give that a blend.
Okay, let's see if this blended again.
I know, huh?
Here we go.
Oh,
I got my gloves stuck. There we go.
turn it that way and then, yeah. Got it. Perfect. So the liquid in this is going to be really dependent on how sweet and how moist the sweet potato is. So let's check to see if it needs any moisture. Looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and add in our lemon squeeze. So for a cup and a half of sweet potato, plan on using at least one full lemon. You know, it all depends on the size and the juiciness of a lemon too. So go ahead and pour in your spices, and I'll cut you one more lemon.
That lemon really makes a big difference.
It does, right?
Yeah.
So start on this side of the handle and then do it counterclockwise.
There we go.
Yeah. Good. It's coming along. And we can give it a little stir. If it's getting stuck in there.
There we go. Yeah.
So this sweet potato is a little bit dense. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of our bean juice. And that way it's just going to give it a little more texture. But before that, let's start with our lemon. Go ahead and squeeze the lemon in. So we're going to build this one with a similar kind of tortilla. Let me show you which one. This one I also got from Sprouts, and it's a grain-free tortilla also. It's paleo and vegan. I liked it because it was such a beautiful little texture, and it's very, very crunchy, so it doesn't break easily. It's going to have good texture. This works if you make your breakfast taco and you eat it, maybe late afternoon or even late morning. It's not going to get soggy. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, that looks great. All right, let's pull it out. And my peppers look absolutely beautiful. So again, this is where if I wanted to add a little more heat, I could. I could add jalapeno in here. I could, of course, add more garlic. I just had a small amount of garlic in this one as well as just the peppers. Now we are going to scoop that beautiful sweet potato hummus.
Oh, wow. This looks beautiful.
It does, right? It's got really nice creaminess. If you wanted to make it smoother and use it as a sauce, you could do that too. Adding some coconut cream just to give it a little more creaminess. You could use it for any kind of sauce. Over pasta noodles would be amazing. So here we've added allspice, some Himalayan sea salt. We added tarragon and lemon juice. Oh yeah, that looks gorgeous. Perfect. Let's build this baby up. Here is our plate, and we're going to do the same kind of load up. With this one, since we filled our pastry bag with our other hummus, I want to show you how easy it is, even just with a regular spoon. So will you turn our little plate sideways? Thank you, and that way we can build together here. So I'm going to hold it and add in a good 2 tablespoons. I want you to see how nicely it holds in all kinds of goodies. I could add roasted potatoes into this. If I wanted to add egg, of course you could, but I think it's really nice just to go with all veggies. That's really a Mediterranean tradition, but it's also something that's become more and more popular now, trying to use more from the earth. So now I'm going to add in my beautiful peppers.
Oh yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So nice. And finish it off with some herbs. There you have it. So pretty. Now, if we wanted to do a saute and add some veggies on the side, we could cook our spinach and have that as a side. I also want to show you, these are the beans that I used for our first hummus. So I want you to see how interesting. I mixed some Mediterranean lentils along with the butter beans. So these are big and meaty, and they're so delicious, very creamy. So even if I'm going to have my sweet potato hummus and I wanted to do a side dish, I could always add beans along to the side. So I could add them right out of the can. They're absolutely fantastic, just a little bit of salt and paprika. Or I could mix some of my toppings and make a bean salad. So let me show you how that'll work. So I'm going to put in that mix of the lentils and the butter beans. And Jessica, why don't you put in some of my beautiful roasted peppers? So as we're building this, we're just thinking about what flavors we want to add and layer into this little side dish. So we've got all the peppers coming through, and now we want to add in some flavors. So with our sweet potato hummus, we did some French notes with the tarragon as well as the lemon and the garlic. And now with this one, I want to jazz it up a little bit. I'm going to use some of this really awesome walnut oil. So I'm going to use probably about a teaspoon and a half. Don't need a lot. And grab one of those lemons if you would. And we're going to squeeze on some fresh lemons.
There we go.
So fresh lemon juice, a little bit of walnut oil, a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. This is a very traditional dish.
Very nice.
And believe me, having beans in the morning for breakfast is fabulous. It's one of those complex carbohydrates that is really going to stick with you. It's going to help to maintain your blood sugar, but it's also going to give you some good energy. You're not going to have a drop in the mid-morning. There was a seed in there. You're not going to have a drop in the mid-morning if you run out of steam on something that is high in protein or just high in refined sugars. So I love that. What do you say we add a little bit of parsley? Why don't you sprinkle a little bit of parsley in there? So now we've got, let's see, our flavors. Himalayan salt. We've got the beans and peppers. Some lemon juice. Is there anything else you think we could add?
I can't think of anything at the moment. I mean, it looks
looks so pretty, right? I think it's perfect like it is. You know what, though? Paprika is sitting over there, and it's calling my name. Let's add a little sprinkle of this beautiful herb. Now, this is a great example of the Mediterranean. The smoked paprika is not only used in French cooking, Middle Eastern cooking, but also Italian. Paprika is one of those absolute all-time classics. And did you know that beta-carotene and lycopene are loaded in this beautiful herb? So you might not realize that herbs are one of the greatest sources of nutrients. Yep. So there we have it. This is so pretty. So this is going to now be my extra side dish, right? Maybe a little fresh ground pepper at the end. There we go. I'm going to serve this right alongside our beautiful sweet potato breakfast taco. And it's now with this beautiful side dish of a bean medley. So I hope that you enjoy our beautiful little example of a breakfast from the Mediterranean. Anything that you would like to add?
You know, I was just thinking about this salad. I was thinking that we could probably put that also either in a taco or a taco shell, or even a soft tortilla, and maybe make it into a wrap, perhaps.
Oh my gosh!
I think that would be really good too.
It would be excellent. In fact, you could just use that bean medley in one of our tacos. You could even leave out the hummus.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
It would work out great. So Jessica, let's show them how you made that first hummus with the really beans, the really traditional one with the beans.
Okay. So first we're gonna start off with just a cup, half a cup, and we're gonna
put it in our fancy food processor. Remember that this is a cannellini bean. It's an Italian bean, and then some Italian lentils. I drained it for the most part. I left a little juice in there because sometimes with our when we mix the beans, we need a little bit of moisture. With this recipe, we are going to add lemon as well. So we always add that juice just in case we need it. So it's about 1.5 cups of the beans, and then she's going to process those and then add in this beautiful butter. And again, with this one, we use this cool sunflower butter, but you could also use the sesame tahini. So I'm going to give you the recipe and make sure you take notes because remember, you always want to adjust for spice and heat, but with this one, she's really got the system down and she's really been working on getting just the right amount of salt as well as the spice. So here she's adding 2 heaping teaspoons of the sun butter. So 2 heaping tablespoons, I think I said teaspoon, a tablespoon. And again, I always put it in a small jar to start with, or a small bowl, because you don't want to have to double dip into your container. It's pretty creamy, so you also have to mix it. So here she goes. So cumin, paprika, and your Texas pepper. So New Mexico pepper or just a spice blend is just fine. But look at these beautiful colors. And as she gets it to a closer texture, then we're going to add in our little bit of lemon juice. You can plan on, again, using at least 1/2 lemon, maybe even a full. And that way you get nice citrus notes and adjust it again to your flavor preference. So the cannellini bean is the one that I used. Next time we have a video together, I'm going to be introducing you to the fava bean. And again, that's a very popular Mediterranean bean. We're going to do a really special dish with one of my other interns. So I can't wait for you to check that one out too. And if you're liking these videos, we would so appreciate it if you would give us a thumbs up on whatever medium you're watching it, whether it be YouTube or Facebook. And just know that we here at Powerhouse Bakery love to have you come visit us. We are cooking up healthy every day, and I love to have Jessica and my other intern Nicole, as well as my amazing team. We're always cooking up healthy, so come visit us when you can. Did we get it done?
I just need to add the chili powder, and then we're good
All
to go.
right. And the paprika.
And I added the paprika. Actually, we do need the ground.
All right,
ground
we do that for you. Notice too that I've got a pretty large granular salt. I'd like to do the sea salt or the Himalayan sea salt, and those are really nice. But you don't have to. You can use a fine grain one that's really more traditional.
There we go.
All right, here comes the cumin.
About how much?
About a 1/4 teaspoon.
1/4 teaspoon.
Yeah. All right, so let me write down all of our spices. So 1/4 teaspoon of cumin and 1/4 teaspoon paprika.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, take notes. And then 1 lemon, and adjust it to as much as you want, but I really have it handy because I tell you the lemon is great with it. So the cannellini beans, the sun butter, salt, about 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, and then cumin and paprika. And if you wanted that extra little bit of heat, make sure you add in that Mexican chili. All right, let's blend away. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So we built our breakfast taco and we loaded about 2 tablespoons, maybe even as much as a 1/4 cup, into one of those little tacos. And oh my gosh, you can top it with some roasted potatoes. You could top it with some of our beautiful bean medley. Look what I've got here that we made earlier. And I just blended some spices with those beautiful beans. It's so lovely. So they're so versatile too. You can do a lot of different salads or your beautiful breakfast taco. And just as review, notice that I've got this cassava flour blend tortilla, but you could also use corn tortillas. Jessica, I remember when you were giving me this recipe, you talked about doing a folded
yes,
tortilla.
a wrap. So basically you just get a tortilla of your choice. You could do gluten-free, you could do flour, but the idea is that you get the tortilla and then you cut it in half. Not all the way, kind of just in the middle, and then you can put the hummus, or you can put anything really into it.
Yeah.
And then you can add your protein, a veggie. You can add some. What else could?
Well, like the peppers that we did.
Yes, the peppers.
You could even do kale. And again, doing the roasted peppers is such a nice addition. Right. All right, here is our beautiful finished product. So with these little blades, remember you always have to pull them out, and they're kind of a pain to clean. But remember, use your food processor a lot. It makes it so fun, and you feel so gourmet in your kitchen. So this is our beautiful puree made with the cannellini bean and a little bit of Italian lentils. And this is what I love to make. Let's go ahead and fill one more tortilla.
Okay.
And we'll load this one with spinach. And where's our fun pastry bag too? We can.
Oh yes, our pastry bag.
Let's do a couple for our staff so they can eat. I know everybody has been hoping that they could sample our beautiful recipes here. So there you go. I've got my hummus in there, and here is my beautiful peppers. So I didn't put the peppers in the recipe, but remember that it's optional, but it sure does make them beautiful. Go ahead and grab another shell, and you can load it up.
Yes.
Here, and I'll put some more beautiful hummus. So what kinds of things do you have for breakfast?
Well, let's see. I'm pretty basic.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I could go for a good bowl of oatmeal to eggs, even Greek yogurt, maybe with some berries. That's good. I do that sometimes. I think that's about it on top of my head.
I love it. Well, that works. So nothing wrong with traditional, but you know, it's funny because breakfast becomes such a part of our culture, and we get so used to kind of what we've grown up with.
Right.
And so in the Mediterranean, both in Egypt, all the way up to northern Italy, beans are oftentimes a real traditional one, and that's something that becomes just the norm. So whether it be oatmeal in Texas or the bean taco in Italy, it's a great way to start a healthy part of your day. And notice here that when we get them filled, it's so easy to chomp on, and you can top it with lots of different herbs and spices. I'm going to add some of these little guys on here, just like I did on that first one. But notice that they tuck right in. Yes. I can push them in there, and it's so easy to travel with. There we go. There is our beautiful finished product. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.